Hello friends, welcome back to another episode of Honey Apple Farm. It's been a couple weeks since I have been doing any work out in the garden, and things have really changed in the 2.5 weeks that I was gone. Let me show you a brief video of what the garden looked like 2 weeks after that mammoth planting extravaganza. Let's start with the herb bed. Look at how huge this is. This is so incredibly luxurious. When I left, it was maybe like this high, and look, it's all coming out. This is the sage. We've got a little bit of dead thing here, but yeah, look at this. Look at this. And there's green, green, green all over the time. I can't believe it. This is one of the catnips, and I swear to God, it is twice as tall as it was when I left. And this is the mint, which is coming out. And check this out. This is the lemon balm. When I left, it was still pretty much like down here. And it's gotten big and full. And this is our peppermint coming back. And we've got more. Look how happy and healthy that is. We're going to have so much catnip, we're going to start giving it away. This one, the catnip is struggling, but it's working on it. And look, new exciting things. We have baby lettuce. So 2 of the 3 pockets here sprouted, and there's 3 seedlings here and 2 seedlings here, and this is the heirloom lettuce. Isn't that cute? And then this is the Tom Thumb lettuce, and it looks like we have 2 in all 3 pockets. Neat! I'm so excited. And then look at how tall the garlic is getting, you guys. When I left, it was just barely starting to poke through the tops, and now it is becoming an absolute forest. Look at how thick that is on the bottom. These are the onions we planted 2 weeks ago. They're not massive, but they're all here. They all seem to be happy. Whoop, except this one. What happened here? Something pulled this one out of the ground. Let's see if we can get it back in. Peter, bless him, was out here watering while I was gone because of the high temperatures. I don't know if that's going to make it, but we'll give it a try. And here is our bed of garlic and onions. Man, those garlic are looking so good next to the onions, and I'm hoping the onions will catch up. And then there should be, it looks like maybe we didn't have any. Oh, no, there is. So there should be 3 things of broccoli in here, and it looks like maybe only 1 has come up, 1 little broccoli. So I'll be putting some more broccoli in here. Yeah, I don't see. Oh, nope, there's another one. There's a broccoli here. There's a broccoli here, and there should be one somewhere down here. So it looks like we have 2 broccoli that came up, but not the one down here. And then Peter says there's stuff up along. Oh, I see it! There's stuff up along the fence line, you guys. Oh, wow. So look, here's a little guy. This is a pea. And there's a little tiny sweet pea. And look at this one. Look at that. That's looking great. So the things that have multiple ones in them are the sweet peas that need to be thinned. The one that's just a single one coming up is the pea. Oop, all 3 germinated here, which is wonderful and also frustrating because then I have to thin them, and I hate thinning them because, you know, they've taken all the time to grow and they should be allowed to survive, I think. It looks like we had really good germination rate. I'm gonna have to come through here today and put the beans in, which is where those white markers are, but my gosh. It looks like we had some really successful stuff. Oh my gosh, look at how good these peas are, and it's starting to make little tendrils already. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Things are also growing out here in the front beds. I'm less sure about what's growing out here because they're all flowers and I need to come through with my plant app. I planted some black-eyed Susans along the edges here, and I'm hoping that these might be some black-eyed Susan. And then look how tall this stuff has gotten. That stuff was probably about half that high when I left. And so this is the coreopsis and things. It's growing. Hello, little ones. And then, oh my gosh, you guys, over here we have so many sunflower babies. So these are all sunflower babies. I'm going to have to come through and either transplant or prune because there is no way that this many sunflowers are going to be able to make it. I did also come through and plant some black-eyed Susans up here. Look at how green and lush everything is. that's where the garden is so far. Today, we have a lot of planting to do because as it turns out, the end of March, beginning of April, first frost date was not quite accurate. Our last frost date was actually the middle of March. And that's right before I did the first huge round of planting. So we have a lot of things to plant today. First things first, this is bed 4. It's the second bed from the Fenceline. This is going to be our bok choy and a cucumber bed. So the intention is to put a cucumber kind of in this third and then have 2 bok choys running. So I'm going to start the first succession here. And last time we found that the bok choys, actually I didn't write this down and I should have, but I think they probably need to be about 2 weeks apart. Here is what I'm thinking. I looked it up online. It said you could do 24 to 30 inches between cucumbers if they're not trellised, and 12 inches between cucumbers if they are trellised. So that means to me that I need at least 12, somewhere between 12 and 30 inches between the middle of my cucumber plant in this bed and where it's going to hit the bok choy. The bok choy is also, I mean, it grows mostly up, but it does get a little bushy. So here's what I'm thinking. If this is the bok choy end and I put this pretty much where it's sloping down, I could do 1 bok choy here and 1 bok choy here. And then this would be the outside. That would be that 6-inch mark where I could, in theory, plant another bok choy, but I could also have something else run in. And so from there to the end of the bed is just about 30 inches, which is the maximum amount of space that we need. I'm going to go ahead and use these guys to mark the empty spaces. I had done that in years past. Quite frankly, I had done succession planting years past, but it worked so well, visually speaking, along the fence line here, that I think I'm going to do it here too. I got super smart and decided to label them. So that's BC2 for bok choy 2, BC3 in case I want to put one in here, and then I've also put a cuke one in here. The problem with doing just 2 bok choy seeds is that they're ridiculously small. I did get 2 out though, and I have put them in, and I am going to mark them so that I don't forget where I've put them, and we'll move on. Okay, so this is the heirloom lettuce container. I'm so glad that I labeled one of them so I knew which variety was which. These are the barely covers, so I think I'm just gonna like scratch a little hole in each of these. Thank you very much, markers. These need to be watered again. I'm gonna water everything when it gets a little cooler this evening. It's pretty much the hottest part of the day right now, which is fine because it's only 70-something degrees, but not fine later in the summer. Oh crap. I just realized I mixed these up. I put the Tom Thumbs in with the heirlooms. The heirlooms not just now in with the Tom Thumbs. Well, c'est la vie. So that's the lettuce and bok choy done, the easy ones. Next project is the south fence line, which is what you guys saw me do earlier in the flashback. First thing I need to do is come through here and take out all of the white stakes and put in beans. And then the second thing I need to do is go through and double check the spacing and see if by chance there's a pea that didn't germinate. I need to put a new pea in its place before I go ahead and seed the other lawn. So while I am getting myself organized here, let me flash back to opening the beans and counting them yesterday, because it was pretty fun. At least it was fun for me. I expected the green bean seeds to look different. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're green beans, so they should be bean size. I think I've just been planting flowers too long and not enough vegetables from seeds, because I'm totally just tickled pink by these, the way they look and they feel kind of like jujubes. They're about the size of jujubes, but of course they're more dense. I'm just tickled by them. Maybe I'm the only one. So I'm checking to see that everything has germinated. So pea, yes, look at that glorious monster. Sweet pea, yes, look at those lovely, and there's 2 of them. And then a bean marker, which I will deal with in a minute. There should be a pea, and I'm hoping that this tiny, I'm not even sure you guys can see it there. Are you a pea? I don't know. And then there should be a sweet pea coming out here. I don't see one, unless that's what this is. So I may need to transplant one of the sweet peas over here, but that's fine. We have a lot of extras. Bean, and then here is this little pea. Hello, little one, coming up here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just going down the line and checking to see what's there. Then what I'm doing is I'm going through and pulling out the marker. These beans are huge, which is awesome. And they're supposed to go an inch deep. So I'm covering that up. I'm putting the little markers here in my container, which has all my seeds in it. I love these things. So useful. And then let's see, we also need to do that here. The ground is still pretty soft. I was worried it was going to be really hard, which is part of the reason I'm using this, which is a metal stake. But actually, the ground is pretty soft still, at least around there. Okie dokie, that's done. It's amazing. It took an hour. It didn't feel like an hour going, 3 feet at a time down the fence. I did use all 6 of my replacement pea seeds, and I ended up with 3 extra bean seeds. I guess maybe I just skipped a few beans down the way. Some of them are doing really, really well. Some of them have just germinated, and of course some of them didn't germinate at all, but overall I'm really pleased. There are very few spaces that have more than 1 or 2 of the plants missing, and that's really cool. So next project, and probably last project for tonight before I water, is to do the north fence. So this is a brand new part of the garden right behind me. This is our north fence that abuts our property with the neighbor on the north side. And if you remember from the very long epic planting video, I was contemplating putting more beans and peas along this fence line. I consulted with Peter and we have the space, so why not? It gets more shade, as you guys can tell. This is about 6 o'clock in the evening. We're about an hour from sunset, and this is all in shade all the way down to, you can barely see that post down there. That's as far as I'm gonna go. So it's very possible that some of the stuff up here is going to get shaded in the late afternoon. Right now, that's not so great, but when the temperatures get really warm near the end of their growing cycle, I suspect they're really going to like this shade. You guys remember those math problems, story problems when you were a kid? Like if train A leaves station, Geronimo at whatever time and is going whatever speed. And I never thought those were useful, but this kind of stuff is useful. So this is my doodlings from yesterday. This is me inventorying the number of peas and beans that were left, and then trying to figure out how I wanted to space them. At first I thought it would be good to just do bean, pea, but then I realized that was not as efficient a use of space as possible because the beans require 4-inch spacing and the peas only require 2-inch spacing. So what I've decided is to put all the peas next to each other and all the beans next to each other so that we can squeeze more in. So the total amount that we're going to be able to put along the fence line is basically 1 bean for every 2 peas. And I think for ease of reference, I'm going to start here at this pole with the first planting and then go down to the pole that you guys can barely see in the sunlight. I don't want to go too far beyond that pole, although I could actually. Peter doesn't think there's going to be enough sun in there, but actually there's sun in here now in the late day and there's sun in the early morning that comes through. So instead of going through the brush pile, I might actually just try going down all the way to the fence line. Why not? Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. We're going to start here, and I'm just going to use this as an eyeballer. I think I'm going to plant these a lot closer to the fence line. A, because they'll be safer from mowing there, and B, because I want them to be able to climb the fence line. So I'm trying to do it, like that mark is an inch, probably a couple inches, no more than a couple inches away. So it is 6:05 right now. Let's see how long this takes. And I'm starting with beans, by the way. So there's going to be beans on this end and peas as we go further down. Okay, so that is the last bean. That is 18 feet of bean, which is 54 beans. Here this is 18 feet, this is 8 feet from that fence marker, more or less. We're gonna switch over to peas, and this should go a lot faster because where the beans were every 4 inches, the peas are every 2 inches. So that is gonna swallow up what's left of the peas, I think, quite quickly. Okay, last 2 holes for the peas. There we go. The little pea seeds in number 1, in number 2, cover them up, and done. Da, 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 da. In fact, I think I'm going to leave this marker here to show where I finished. All right, well, that's it. So we have an entire fence line planted. Well, hello, little Isis. Yes. Oh, she just showed up just when I was trying to decide what to do next. I watered all along the fence line here and the fence line on the other side, and I watered the wildflower bed because the seeds that I planted 2 weeks ago said to keep moist, and I'm hoping that many of them are still going to germinate. And I watered a couple. I watered the lettuce bed, but I really don't have the mental energy to sort of randomly figure out where to put the poppies and the amaranth tonight. So I'm going to leave that for tomorrow along with the front beds and figuring out where to plant the marigold seeds. So I'm going to sign off for now. Thanks for hanging around with me today, and I will see you ideally tomorrow. Isis wants to say thank you for hanging out as well.